All right, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Bitter Brown Femmes. I am one of your hosts, Ruben, coming to you from Portland, Oregon.
And I am Cassandra coming to you from the 915. If you don't know where that's at, look it up. Just
And
kidding. Don't
don't look.
don't use Chat GPT for that.
Oh,
Um, you can just, ask. I saw a tweet earlier that was like, you don't got to use that. Just come to me, just ask me, and I will help you. Cause, because we're destroying our planet every time we ask. But anyway, off
no, that's
track.
real. No, that's real. That's a real issue. I'm actually like super against AI. Yeah, need to cut that shit out. We don't.
I'm sorry you guys have to study. Like, let's just stop being a little lazy. We don't
Yeah,
Google already exists. I don't even know like why are
I
we
mean, that said, Google did fuck up. It's like shit so it's like search engine so much with all the ads and all this prioritizing
I
of different
mean,
things that like now they are using an AI instead of their own Google search. So now every time you Google something, it gives you an AI option first.
okay. Well,
So they fucked
that
that
is
shit up.
true.
But yeah, just
Hmm.
ask somebody. Whatever happened to
Anyway,
building community?
that's why we relaunched this podcast. If you have any questions, just let us know. Just send
Yeah.
us a little email, a little DM, and we will try our hardest to answer your questions
Yeah, without
about the
Google,
state of the world.
don't ask us medical questions because you will probably end up more fucked up than when you started.
I can answer medical questions.
I, you know, um, I have a associate's degree in holistic health. I can help you find a herb or a
Hmm.
little powder to do something or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just say that I was a sickly child growing up, and then I invested 2 years of my life into brouhaha degree, and I didn't get sick a lot throughout my 20s until I got hella COVID, and then now I've been a sickly adult. Yeah, so
Everybody has
yeah,
now.
I keep hearing that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But let's get into it. Real quick, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who listened to our last episode. So it was really just like, we're not even gonna think about it. We're just gonna record because me and Ruben, sometimes we overthink or we overplan, and then it just never happens. So we're trying to just like doing it fucking live. Like that is our goal right now to
yeah.
jump back into this. So thank you. Bear with us. Second, before we jump into these conversations that we have for this week, I wanted to go back real quick to the Dochi conversation because okay, let me revisit that because I had some time to think about it. So my issue now, based on what you responded to me, was like now it seems biphobic. I'm like that meme right now, like that friend that's too woke or whatever. But I don't know. I think like personally, one thing I'm always like side eye or rolling my eyes is when people are like you had said that they said the issue is that you dated a bisexual man, right? And this whole thing with bi people being cheaters and we're just like fake and we cheat on people, like bisexual women are gonna leave you for a man and like I'm sorry, bisexual men are just gay, right? And then like to me it's just like I don't know if it's biphobic, but maybe it's just a personal thing. I'm just like, why does it matter who they're cheating on you with? Like why are non-bisexual I feel like they're always like cut up on that. Like, well, he should have told me he was gay. Well, he should have told me he was bisexual. Well, the fact that it's a guy makes it like 10 times worse. And I don't understand. I just don't understand that. Like if someone cheats on me with someone who is non-binary, a woman, a man. I'm just like, at the end of the day, I still got fucking cheated on. I don't give a fuck who it was with, right? This whole thing that bisexuals are like lying to you and deceiving you, and it's like, okay, this man didn't disclose to Dochi that he was bisexual, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, maybe he didn't feel comfortable around you, to disclose that information. So again, the fact that he cheated on you with the guy is like the cheating is like the most important thing. I just feel like being like, well, he cheated on me with the guy or with this person or with that person, and it's kind of like, okay. But anyway, I just wanted to add my 2 cents on that. I
Yeah,
was thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the issue is ultimately the cheating. That said, every time that I've dated by a guy, he has not left me for another man. He has left me for another woman. So
Hmm.
let's talk about that.
Sounds like a issue. Sounds like a you
But
issue. Just kidding.
yeah,
No,
uh,
but like that's what I mean. It's like I don't know. When I that was like a whole thing for me. Like,
yeah.
well, I guess still is, but when I would date a lot of lesbians, it was always that. Like, cheat, you're gonna leave me for a guy, and I'm like, does it matter? Like, I guess to them, it's like a I don't know, like a thing like I can't compete with the man type of
Mm,
um thinking, and it's like I don't know.
yeah.
Anyway, another conversation for another day. I just wanted to
No, I mean,
to
yeah. What was the last breakup I was really broken up about? I don't think I've been broken up about a breakup in all since 2016, maybe. But that's maybe because I've just accepted that, like, okay, no matter the reason that if you're breaking up with me, it's like, what am I gonna do about this? Like, what?
mm,
I'm not gonna like crawl on my knees and like beg you to love me. But that's a
okay.
whole other story.
I know, not on Valentine's Day week.
Oh, you
That should have been
know,
this episode. Just let's
I
just
mean,
talk, just
my
talk about
Valentine's is
it.
looking promising. Like, this is looking fine.
Not for
Um,
me. This I'm all another Valentine's Day alone. I say I love
there's a,
Valentine's Day and then I'm just a liar because like it's sad. Anyway,
I
let's not
do
talk
love
about that.
Valentine's Day.
Let's anyway, so jumping in, Super Bowl yesterday. Go birds or whatever they say.
Let's go
As
Eagles.
as an Eagles fan, as of what's today's date?
February 10th.
As an Eagles fan, as of February 9th, 2025, I was really happy that they won.
Yeah. I was just
It
like,
means a lot,
not Travis Kelce again. Just as long as it's not that, like we're good. Yeah.
right?
Um,
Um, I hate that everything is, I guess it's not really surprising, but it's like a reflection of the political times. Like I no, tell me your thoughts on the on the Super Bowl.
how is it a reflection of the political thoughts of the political
Just
moment?
everything seems such a like a spectacle. Like Trump was there.
Oh yeah.
It was like a thing that he was going to be there, and then like the whole Taylor Swift thing, and people are like booing at her, and it's like that's a little it like okay, disclosure. Well, it's not even disclosure. Like I don't really care for Taylor Swift. I have a lot of things to say about Taylor Swift, but it's like I thought those were her fans. Like who was booing at her? I thought the team liked her. I thought the MAGA people liked her. I don't know, but like that, and then Kendrick Lamar's performance, which right now I'm seeing all over like Twitter of people divided. The same with like Beyonce, which actually reminds me of like Childish Gambino when he did
This is
This Is
America.
America and like what the goal was with this performance or the imagery of patriotism and like did it mean something? Does it even mean anything at all? Like I don't know. I didn't
I will say this, like, okay, let me like preface this with like, okay, I am like, first of all, take my anything I fucking say with a grain of salt because I am like not a black person. So
that's
start
my thing
there.
too, where I see
Um,
these conversations and like I'm at like there's like a line of like what I'm if my opinion is even you know what I mean? Like some
yeah, but you
yeah.
ultimately came here to listen to me, so here we go.
So
Uh,
here it is.
so basically, um, if people have to work at deciphering something, that I wonder about the effectiveness of whatever type of like political protest you were trying to engage in, right? Like I
Mhm.
get that he like had an American flag, but he was in the middle of it because America's divided or whatever. Okay. And what about it, bitch? What are we gonna do
Are we
about the
divided?
division? Um, like I enjoyed it for like the pettiness and the hateration of it all. For like the symbol of America thing, like that's um not something that was easily understood by the people that needed to hear the message, or they didn't really care, or they just turned around, right? Like, you had Trump as your audience member, and you could have said something more directly to him, and you didn't, right? Same thing with when Lady Gaga performed in front of Trump all those years ago, and they were like, "Oh, she said LGBT rights in front of Trump." Okay, bitch. She could have also said "fuck Trump," like my clear. Like she could have said something. but instead she said nothing, right? And the same thing with Kendrick. It's just like, okay, I'm like, we're not in the era of symbolism anymore. We are not in the era of like joy is resistant anymore. That is when that was digestible and like cutesy, like idea to, even ponder. That time passed, girl. That was maybe the first go around we have with Trump. We were still learning things. Right now we are old ass bitches. Like now we know that like no, bitch, your little symbols are just that symbols that can be washed away and will be washed away when they do away with the arts, when they do away with more of our freedom of speech. And your joy is just that. Like, sure, when we talk about like joy as resistance, we're talking about people who are like surviving like horrible oppression that still find joy, right? Like one easy example is right, like the children in Palestine that continue to engage in like joy and childish behavior despite, surviving a genocide. Like that is, you know, them resisting Israel trying to take everything, including their childhood from them, right? But like you at home doing a little self-care, putting a little face mask, while Trump strips away our rights and those around you, like that little bit of joy, like that's not resistance, girl. It can be like a way to replenish yourself so that you can eventually go, continue to fight in the struggle. And that is important, right? And then we're talking about like, healing, actual taking care of your attrition. That is an active part of resisting. But just like hee-heeing and ha-haing and like that is I don't by itself is not it, girl. So similarly with this whole performance, like no, I don't give a fuck about what Kendrick had to say about America. And I'm sorry to say this, but I actually almost always am not enthralled by his idea of what political music is. And this is going back all the way to Pimp a Butterfly for me. Um, like I just remember when that album was getting praise and like at the around the same era, Janelle Monáe had released Dirty Computer, which was more like inclusive of everybody, right? Um, and more radical at the time, and how one of those albums got, really uplifted, and the other one didn't. And it was because it was tackling more real shit, right? And so I never really seen it for him. Very glad that he mollywopped Drake. I will continue to praise him so long as he keeps doing that. But
Exactly.
as far as the performance goes, like no, nothing. Even The Weeknd had a better moment, like as far as spectacle did went than like this guy. Um, and it's just like hard to compete with the divas. I'm sorry. Like a male's Super Bowl performance has never wowed me. Like fuck Justin Timberlake and Usher's was fine.
Usher has
Who
never done it.
yes he did. He did it last year.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. I was there in my couch.
He did. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, The
And before him
Weeknd,
was Rihanna.
Rana, another flop.
I thought she was
But
last year. Okay, sorry. Go on.
yeah, but they will never be Beyonce. They will never be Madonna. They won't be never be J-Lo and Shakira, you know. So yeah, but all praise to, Kendrick Lamar taking hateration to whole new levels.
I agree with everything you said. And as someone who I'm not a big Kendrick Lamar fan. I am obviously I'm aware of the whole Drake thing, which is why I'm loving it as well, but also because my child is really obsessed with Kendrick Lamar right now. So we listened to Kendrick Lamar a lot, and he was asking me actually about the Drake. He was like, Drake is a singer. Why is he saying his name? And I was like, and I had to try to explain to my autistic son who doesn't really understand like why the whole thing. But anyway, the point is, I agree. I'm not a big expert on Kendrick Lamar and his music or politics, but I will say that the best thing of the night was when one of his dancers kind of was holding up, I think we all saw the Gaza and Sudan flag. And I don't think I guess he kind of got tackled for it, or like they escorted him out, which I think was interesting because it's like he's not a heckler. He didn't come from like the stands into the crowd. You know what I mean? It's kind of like obviously they didn't want that to be shown because really, if it was his dancer and it was approved, who cares? But anyway, the point is there's no charges. He actually has an Instagram account, and I'm so sorry, I don't want to butcher or try to say his name. Um, I actually just saw that I guess people had identified him and his Instagram sorry. His Instagram name, well, we'll tag it because I don't mm, but anyway, the point is, shout out to him. He did what needed to be done, and that was like the best thing that I saw at the Super Bowl. But I also was like, if he got arrested and like Kendrick Lamar does not bail him out or say anything about it, like, well, I'm still kind of sad because he hasn't said anything at all
Yeah,
about any of these issues ever, from my understanding. But also there's like this conversation about weren't we all supposed to be like boycotting the NFL, you know?
yeah. Well,
Which is easy
Jay-Z
for me
took
to say
over.
because I'm not like a football fan, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like I'm like, oh, okay, let me boycott the NFL. But that's also like a big conversation since I think was that 2016 when like the whole NFL boycott started
It might
or
have been
conversations
earlier,
about
but
it, I
yeah.
guess.
It was 2015, 2014, yeah, when
Hmm.
Colin Kaepernick stuff was
Because
happening.
I think we talked about this. It was like when Shakira and J-Lo, they were probably like that first entertainers that like they booked after
Oh
all of
yeah.
this and it felt very like intentional like let's put two Latinas up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a good performance, the first half, which was Shakira's half.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that was a great, I think
J-Lo
Shakira should have just,
mollywopped her.
no, she did
Whatever.
not. She did
Yeah,
not.
she
No, she
did.
did not. I'm sorry. Shakira's a
Girl,
better
the star
performer.
power.
Anyway, that was a good performance. I absolutely loved. It was actually Coldplay, but everyone forgot about Coldplay. It was actually Beyonce and Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
That one was good. I did not like Rihanna's.
No.
Anyway, that's not the point.
But
We're not
yeah.
ranking our favorite NFL
But we will
performers.
someday, but maybe
We
not
will.
today. Because you know what else you reminded me of when you said that, like, didn't, when like, Kendrick hasn't said about anything about Palestine, and he hasn't, and that's why people were hoping that this was, um, like part of his sting.
Hmm.
Um, and if I'm not mistaken, like, Kendrick once identified as part of that like that group called, like, the Black Israelites. Um
I saw something about that today, but I didn't know what it was in reference to. I thought they were making it up.
yeah, and so that also, like, this is a perfect chance, and I will give him his props. This is a perfect chance to like fucking stand up for something and like be so fucking for real about it. Like, um he has to bail out this dancer or claim it as part of his own, performance. But like that to me is gonna be like the barometer of like how revolutionary he really wanted to be.
Mm.
Um, Other than that, like Kendrick continues to just be kind of like whatever, like not impressed by. I mean, whatever happened to like protest music being fun? It's always been my thing with him. It's like he can make some of the best music or whatever, but it's not until this latest album that I've like, oh, an album like of like more conscious music is fun. 'Cause like I know she's gone off the rails, but remember when MIA used to make
No,
good
I knew you were gonna
fucking
bring it. I
fun?
RIP to MIA. We left
Yeah,
her
she
in
doesn't exist anymore.
2010 maybe.
2008. Yeah. But
All
like
I
even
know, because
like
me and you are such big MIA fans, and like just she's just she's
yeah.
there are no
Somebody's
words. She really is
yeah.
a disappointment to me because I fucking fucked with the MIA. I loved it. I love that political dance music. But she's anti-black as fuck. She's just like one of those people where you're like, stop tweeting. Like
She's a
enough.
Trumper too.
She's a Trump supporter. She says a lot of anti-black shit. It's like there's just what
Yeah.
that tweet that I shared with you. I don't even remember the context of the Mexican. I'd have to find it. But Yeah, it's very, very disappointing, but
What is the
no one
tweet?
else is. Mhm.
What's the tweet?
I don't remember it. I had tagged you in it where she was like talking about she loves Mexican people, or like she had said something about Mexican people, and she's like, it's not, it's a compliment. I love Mexican. I don't remember the context, but anyway, she just
Somebody,
goes on there and I don't even know what happened to her. And I'm like, has she always been this way? And it just like, I overlooked it because her music is good and I liked dancing to it and getting drunk. Or is it like, I don't know.
yeah,
Who
but
knows?
somebody, she's selling like she believes that like 5G internet waves are like trying to control our brains or whatever. And so she's selling like these little
Mm.
hats that like protect you against like 5G waves or whatever. And
No.
somebody was like, I listened to Bad Girls recently by MIA, and you know what? This shit bangs so hard that she can have a little conspiracy theories as a treat. Um,
I mean, you know what I noticed? A lot of I knew I was right. She's a Cancer. A lot of there's so many messy Cancer celebrities. I don't like
isn't
Geminis and Cancers really just
yeah, Geminis
they
are the
just
ones that I
spiral
fight
out
with.
online. Anyway,
Yeah, whenever I spiral, that's my cancer fighting to be recognized
stop.
online. Don't you also have a Cancer moon?
Absolutely not. I don't have
Oh.
any Cancer in me. Don't put that on me.
But yes, so whatever Kendrick's response is to the dancer with the flags, that will determine,
And he's probably
what
it's
my
just gonna
opinion.
be he's not gonna say anything because they didn't arrest him. You know,
He
he's
just got
out.
escorted it? Well, he could get sued.
I mean, maybe, but like let's say right, like let's say he's like, you know, like they question him or like they let him go. He, you know what I mean? It's like I don't think Kendrick's gonna say anything about it. And if he does behind closed doors, I don't I don't care about that either because it's like what's the point of I don't know, supporting someone like that behind closed doors?
But that reminds me about, you know, last episode I was like, it took, Trump not even getting into office for there to be a ceasefire in Gaza. Um, and I was like, I don't even want to give Trump props because I didn't believe that, A, I wasn't sure that it would last, and B, I knew there had to be some sort of like alternative political motive. And, it was revealed in the last week, literally like the day after the last episode went live, that Trump in a press conference said that like he wants to make like the Gaza Strip into like American owned land, essentially. Um, and yeah, that's why that motherfucker's never gonna get fucking props for anything that might seem progressive because it's always some bullshit like fascist thing behind it. And with that in mind, I think that it's gonna if you haven't, as Americans, people who pay taxes in America, if you haven't already like pondered about your role in this genocide that's happening at the hands, this genocide of Palestinians at the hands of Israel, with American bombs, like now I urge you to like make those connections and really consider what the fuck we're doing here. And because now our not only has our money gone to supply bombs and to give Israel money to enact this genocide on Palestine, but now it's going to be cleared. He plans to clear it for American ownership. Like that's
It's like I was telling my friend, it's 2025 and none of the things ever like colonialism it just never went away, but like just it's 2025 and we're watching it just like on our phones. And it's like not just like genocide, like just it's fucking wild, right? Like it never went away. It's not surprising, whatever, whatever. But at the same time, it really does. It's why? Why are we living in these times? Why did we make it to 2025 if we're still like, why? Like, what? I know why, but this whole also Trump, I wanted before I forget, because I was reading an article earlier about just the whole thing about Guantanamo Bay as well is a lot. Like the fact that we're just trafficking people over there that are criminals, quotation marks. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And we like these are concentration camps. We're just like there's like migrants and we're just flying them out over there into concentration camps. Like, and I want to, that thing I'm always in the back of my head, like, how is this legal? And I hate that I ask myself that because it's like, bitch, who the fuck cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's legal or not, like the US is gonna do it anyway, even if it is it doesn't matter. But it's just like it baffles me. And so I do question that. I'm like, how? Like how? And a lot of these migrants again are being deemed as being criminals, being in gangs. Like the article that I was referencing was this was from like 3 days ago, and it says the Trump administration has moved more than 30 people described as Venezuelan gang members to the U.S. Navy base at Guantanamo Bay. About a dozen of the men were brought in from El Paso, Texas on Friday. And so I mean, it's kind of just, yeah, like they're criminals, right? Which is something I wanted to touch on about how we talk about undocumented people and like detention and ICE. And it's like, obviously I used to be a liberal and there's still things about me that are probably liberal right now, right? But one of the things I remember that the Democrats pushed a lot that I was like, that sounds good, like, was this whole idea of like we're only deporting criminals, right? Like everyone else can stay. All the good immigrants can be here. It's just the criminals. And so you're like, yeah, I mean, that sounds good. Like, why do we want rapists here and uh murderers? Like, yeah, like let's just keep the good ones. Like, what's wrong with that? And like there's a lot wrong with that I see now, obviously. But it's just like first, like all undocumented people here are criminals by law because they're breaking the law just by being here. It does not matter if they're good people, quotation marks, right? I think liberals also like to divide between good and bad, what they deem as good, a good person versus a bad person, and where, you know what I mean? It's just like that picture that people kept sharing of ICE arresting or apprehending a man and the back of his shirt said Latinos for Trump or something like that. And people were just sharing it like, haha, this is so funny, right? Like, oh, you voted for this, like you deserve this. And it's like, first of all, that photo was photoshopped. Um, but my biggest gripe with that was that how happy people were that he was being deported. Like, regardless if he was wearing a fucking shirt that said Latinos for Trump or not. Like, why the fuck are you cheering on ICE? But that's what liberals do, right? Like, they're on this thing of like punishment because that's how they think. That's how a lot of us think, you know. But what I'm getting at, sorry, I'm going around in circles, is like, yeah, just like this whole thing of like who deserves to be here, who do I like, oh, you get to stay, but not you. And it's like that's not how that shit works. And it reminds me of the way people talk about rape, where they'll be like, I hate rapists, I'm against rape, but when you go to jail, I hope they do this to you too. And it's like a joke, right? Like being assaulted in prison, and I hope that happens to you because you did it to this person. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Like you're either against rape or you're not. Like how are you like rape is okay as a punishment? No. And the same thing with like people being deported or being here. It's like you don't get to choose who gets to be here and who doesn't. It's like you're either for everyone should be allowed to migrate and seek asylum and move freely like we all should against like fuck borders or not. Like you can't really pick and choose because it's also like I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but people that are criminals, like are criminals, still deserve to not be in a fucking concentration camp. They deserve still to be able to migrate freely within the world. Like, there's criminals here. Why does it matter if there's a criminal here from fucking Mexico? There's rapists here. There's criminals here. Like, those are two separate fucking issues. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, but I just wanted to say that because, yeah, I see that a lot. And with that, sorry, I said a lot. Um,
How did we get here?
I don't remember.
But yes, um, all that. I think that um yeah, I'm still developing as we all should, like our notion of what a non-carceral future looks like.
Of
Uh,
course.
but one thing for sure is that, yeah, like if you're like an abolitionist or like you believe that prisons like shouldn't exist, right? Or that they're a cruel place, then like your stance on immigration should be pretty clear, right? There's this tweet that's like, I love illegal immigration. Like, yeah, get in here, bitch. 'Cause like
And it's like
it's
such a non-issue. I feel
yeah.
it like let's be for real. Like you're fucking racist and xenophobic. I don't see ICE raiding fucking Italian communities and Irish communities. Like, let's start there. It's always like black migrants, and then yes, like uh, you know, all types of Latinos, of course, but I know we always kind of like just we've talked about this like major focus on like immigrant in the US equals Latino. That's it. Like no one else, and that is not
Mhm.
true. But with that, it's like whenever Trump is in office or like there's deportations and ICE and conversations about immigration, right? It's always the the B words coming out here with their little horchata signs. I already saw one that was like something
Corny
about
Latinxes.
what was
Ugh.
the sign? Like those corny signs that's like I don't like I like my horchata hot because fuck ice. Something corny like first, who the fuck wants to drink horchata hot? Like
No.
weird, very weird.
Oh.
But like those signs and it's like they don't so it's not it's not just our fellow community members, but it's also because like white fucking feminists do that too with the it's like who has the quirkiest sign out here? It's like bitch, pick up a brick. How about that? Let's do that. Like, I don't care what the fuck your sign says. Like, yeah, some signs are like, oh, that's so creative, whatever, but that's not the point. Like, and I'm tired of it's like so performative. I hate it.
Well, it's
It's
for the
just
gram. It's for the gram. People are protesting to
yeah, and
get
it's
social
only
media
because it's
points.
happening right now and you want to feel like this whole thing, like for example, like Selena Gomez crying,
Oh
she's so
God.
annoying, and she's like, my people," and I'm like, "Bitch, you're a billionaire, isn't she?"
Yeah.
Beside the point, but it's like your people, like I don't know.
Mi gente
I hate
Latino.
yeah, I hate when something happens and people are like, my people, my people. I'm like, okay, but like, what are you doing year round? What the fuck have you said? Like, we've talked about this a lot. Like, the only time our community comes out is like to kind of recenter themselves instead of ever actually being in solidarity with anyone else. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these Chicanos Latinx, you're not undocumented. And like you want to try to like say like take up space in that conversation when it's like you need to be on the sidelines because that you know what I mean? I'm not undocumented. I'm not in fear of being deported as much as like people are like it's happened before. Like yes, it has happened before, but like let's be for real right now. It's not about me. It's about like how do I show up for people that are being deported that are scared to leave their home instead of like going out there with some fucking horchata sign and being like proud daughter of immigrants. Like what? Okay.
Yeah. I was like dating this guy and inauguration day came around and he was just like texting and saying all these like frightened things and I'm just like you need to shut up. Like nothing is gonna happen to you. Like just shut up. And where was this fear before? Like I'm just like so annoyed. Like use that fear and like transform it into something fucking useful because the whiter you are, the more cis you are, the richer you are, like the more protected you're gonna be in this world. So fucking I don't know, fucking get brave, bitch. Just get brave right now. Because otherwise, like, your fear's doing nothing but creating more static, more fucking white noise. And I'm so over it. And I also want to say, like, I am sorry to all the little baby Chicanxes and Latinxes that are, like, maybe 16 to 20 coming into their social political consciousness. And the corny, machista, like, Chicanismo 101 concha pride of it all is really
We gotta have a
igniting
conversation
you,
about the comment. No, go ahead.
is
Mm-mm.
really igniting you. Like, I'm sorry that is, see, for some folks, that might be like a rite of passage, but
Unfortunately, it doesn't have to. I wish that it wasn't. for a lot of for
We have
no
to
one.
find a way to fast forward past that because we cannot because that's just going to be create distractions for the next how many
Because then you have to
years.
unlearn all that. And then it's
Yeah.
such a like sometimes you like it doesn't matter how many times people are like tell you like this is wrong, whatever. Like you're so like, no, this is what yeah. There's a way we need to be able to just,
Yeah,
you know,
like if old Chicanxes, Latinxes who have been through that phase, like take a little baby Chicanx, Latinx under your wing and be like, hey, you're gonna be really embarrassed of that sign in about 2 weeks. So let's just not do that. You're gonna be super embarrassed of those concha earrings in like 2 weeks. Unless of course you become DEI coordinator for your nonprofit, in which case they're gonna love that shit and you're gonna be invited to all the galas. And if that's a path you want, then Godspeed, but no, you're not really making a difference in your nonprofit because nonprofits just are bandages to pretend that we are doing something. Um and Yeah, just like take somebody under your wing. All the people listening to us right now, little baby Chicanxes, Latinx listening to us right now. This is your wake up call from old auntie and auntie about like don't be so corny. That's not, and we've all done it. Like, but
we have. I have.
we've all done it. And let's just like
Like
let's
we
just
want to save you. We're not better than you. I'm not
no.
better than you. I was that concha bitch for sure. And everyone till they bullied me into giving up the Chicanismo name. Um, so I've been there. I've been the liberal and maybe not in the same ways as other people, but I have. And like I said, I'm still fucking corny, but I feel like that's what community is. Like you need to be like, hey, you're being goofy. You're being fucking corny. Take that shit down. That's real community. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they're
Um,
listening to this podcast, but pass that message along.
yeah.
Um,
Um, and did you want to say anything else on that?
I was just as a side note, not right now, but we do need to talk about the com commodification of Chicano culture, but that's for
We can
another.
have that conversation when we talk about
I want to talk about
uh
how also the
chi
cholos are dying. They're a dying breed. They don't exist anymore. You're not a lot of people hearing this having little cholo parties or whatever. You're not a cholo. The
or
real
pachuco
cholos,
parties.
the real cholos, like they're gone. That culture's gone. But okay, club culture's gone. That'll be another a whole separate conversation.
Yeah. Club culture deserves its own episode.
Right.
But the Chicanismo thing, also like the comparing Chicanismo to Zionism bit,
I was just thinking about that because
I
at the
think
same time, like I'm like I saw a tweet once and I'm like, haha, that's so funny, right? Like, I love shitting on Chicanos, whatever, Chicanxes, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, really? Are Chicanxes like they have like this power where they're like committing a genocide and like occupying things? Like, let's like I get it. Yes, it's funny. Okay, but no, not
yeah,
really.
like let's hee hee and haha, but not too much, girls.
Not too much. Not too much.
Let's
That's how I feel
let's
about when y'all be talking about these Edgar haircuts, because it's like, hey, yeah, okay, but also very racist. I don't like it.
on
Like,
the
cut it
other
out.
on the other end of that spectrum though, it's the like they laugh at you because they don't want you to be like your ancestors and they compare it
I
to like
hate that. I'm
indigenous
like,
like
that's what I
hieroglyphics.
mean. Or I'm just like, not everything has to be something. They just like this haircut. That's just like when I was in high school, our haircut was like, well, the emo mullet, whatever. And it's like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm connected to some, you know, real quick though, I was gonna say, um, like MCR is like they're going on tour again, right?
Hmm.
And people were speculating about how they were gonna make a new album, and I thought it was very interesting because we've talked about like MCR being created in response to like 9/11. And I just think it's funny because when Obama took office, that is when they were like, bye. And I didn't realize this until recently that Gerard had actually said, like, we are not needed anymore because there is like a black president. Like, because it's like, I don't know. And like, I just think it's funny that they're like, oh, Trump is back in office. Let's fucking go. And I'm just like, that's such a liberal.
Did they
That's
really
kind of
leave when
like
Obama
us
came
right
into
now.
power? Shit.
But that's what I was saying about us.
I mean,
About, about this podcast. But that is not why we left. We left because we were mentally unwell. Not because we were like, Biden's in office, guys. Y'all don't need us anymore.
oh no. No, but we tried. We were
Like
there for like 2 years of the Biden situation.
the most time me and Ruben ever recorded was in 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we had nowhere else
we
to
were locked
be.
the fuck down
Yeah,
and
we were.
in.
hmm Anyway,
Uh,
sorry. That just
yeah,
I popped in. I don't know why the MCR thing popped in my brain. But
but yeah, MCR returning, the cut. You know, the last thing I'll say about the cut haircut is I don't know. I really think Peso Pluma's attractive, and I'm gonna leave that alone. Um, I think he
okay.
popularized the ka haircut. He took it into the
Which
mainstream.
haircut?
Like the
Because
ka and then the thing. Well, it's like
okay,
the
that's like
ka
a
with a
different
mullet.
version. Yeah,
It's
okay.
like a alternate, it's like
Yeah.
a barista ka.
He can pull it off.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say I'm attracted to him, also he's like a child, but he
He's
can pull
like
it off.
27 or something.
Some people cannot pull it off. I
Um,
can see it.
but before I forget, I don't know if I gave Kendrick Lamar his props enough about like blasting Drake, right? And basically calling him a pedophile on national tele on the most watched television event of the year, right? And that said, I don't want us to forget that this obliteration of Drake's career began with Megan Thee Stallion is with her song Hiss, where
Such a good
she
song.
called
Love
him
it.
out a lot of for most of it, but Nicki Minaj is the one that took it to heart. But yes, Megan Thee Stallion uh started this shit, and she should also get her props. And shout out to Serena Williams for being in
hmm
that performance because of it also probably hurt Drake
hmm
emotionally, mentally.
Yeah, it's like the conversation with Drake being a pedophile and a predator really abusive because like also like talking and obviously like I like Drake's music. I've listened to Drake. I've been a Drake fan, right? He's been around for some time. It's not like he just popped up. But one thing is like his music is such a like how do I describe it? Like the guys that listen to his music have always kind of been like, I'm a good guy. I'm sensitive, right? I have this sensitive side that Drake is able to bring out of me. And it's like the whole time it's just misogyny, bitch. Like, but it's wrapped up in like club bangers and bops and romance feelings and all this bullshit. And so it's yeah, people are finally like seeing through it. But it's kind of been overlooked by Drake, right? I mean, sorry, by Kendrick Lamar, where it's like Kendrick and Drake, like Kendrick, and it's like erasing all the women that Drake has either hurt in some capacity or been a predator towards like even Rihanna really SZA I think I'm not really familiar but just like all these women that he's just like either hurt used like Megan Thee Stallion like he literally would talk shit about her and like defend her the guy that shot her and it's like fuck you dude so it kind of I do wish people would have paid attention when like women were calling him out but it's kind of like okay it had to take a man versus a man thing and that's also why I kind of didn't care about the beef in the first place because I also felt like I don't know Kendrick Lamar like that like I said but it felt like it was just two guys kind of like what can we say about each other versus like I actually care that you're a piece of shit towards women. But oh well.
And yeah,
The evil is defeated. So I
girl,
guess
yeah. And if any of you motherfuckers let him back into the stratosphere, I swear I will fist fight you guys because this evil has long been, you know, hovering over us. That said, nice for what does go off.
I'm sorry, it does. It does. It does.
Um, but yeah, and with that, did anything make you less bitter this last week?
Mm. Just the sun. I'm all
Yeah.
sad. Just the sun. Just the sun
Uh,
still. Yeah, we'll just go with the sun and Bad Bunny's new album, which I was
Mm.
holding off on listening to because I was going through some things and I was like, I cannot. Like I tried listening, I was like, this is too sad. Like I cannot. I have to wait till summer when I'm mentally somewhat okay because it's like I can't do it. But then, I did start listening to it and it's so good. It's so good. So yes, like
Yeah.
I think that's the first. No. Did Ethel Cain release her album this year?
Yeah, this year too, I
Okay.
believe.
So far we're barely February. These were released in January. I'm just like 2024 was such a good year for music. Like it was so good. Like so many artists released like amazing albums and I loved like it was just so good. So I hope that happens this year. But so far, yeah, Bad Bunny's album, very
Yeah,
good.
that got me through January for real. Like I
Hmm.
understood like the spirit of like our mothers cleaning to like Latinx music really took over. My house is really clean in January. Now it's a mess again. I have to start listening to
Mm,
Bad Bunny again. But you know what is a generational like ancestral haircut before I forget?
mm,
When you were talking about it, this one, this baldness.
bitch.
That's ancestral. That's an ancestral haircut. Okay, bitches.
Is it a
Um,
haircut or is it a
it's genetics.
choice?
What's more ancestral than genetics?
All right.
But the thing that made me happy was that it didn't snow that much last week. And
It's snowing in Portland? Did
yeah,
you tell me that?
yeah, it was supposed to like be like drastic last week, but now it might be drastic this week. So maybe I will be sad by the next time we record because it's gonna maybe
But
snow
it's your
through my
birthday
birthday.
week.
I know. You're gonna snow my birthday week during my birthday week.
I
Uh,
mean,
and the other thing that made me happy, less bitter, is that uh my car did not die.
love it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's it. Y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us for another episode of Bitter Brown Femmes, and hope to see you next time.
Bye.